Okay, we are in video 7 of the midterm review for engineering design. I'm going to pull in the bearing and add the dimensions. So start with the front view. Okay, scale is off, so I'm going to close out of that. Before we go any further, I'm going to right click on the sheet and go to properties. Now by changing the properties within the sheet, the scale here, it's going to automatically change my scale here and put the correct information on my drawing sheet. So we could have changed the scale in the view, but it's better to do it on the sheet by changing the properties. Next I want to select this and rotate it. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to select these dotted lines, right click and go to zoom pan rotate, select rotate and change this to 90 degrees. Okay, close that out, close that, and now we're going to go ahead and do our projected view out to the side and our isometric. Going to hit escape. I'm going to select my isometric view and create a shaded view. Alright. Now I did not create a top view because instead of a top view I'm going to create a sectional view so that we can see the inside of this part. So we're going to go up to section and I'm going to select the center of this hole as my cut point, hit OK, and then pull this guy up like this. And for some reason I have origins on, so I'm going to turn those off. Okay, now we can begin to start putting some dimensions on this sheet. Okay, I'm going to start by moving this machine thread note out. Got a little bit of room for that. Actually, I may move it down below. Put that down here for now. I'm going to turn on hidden lines in this view so we can see the holes going through the part. In here I need to add some center marks, or center lines rather, so I'm going to select these two edges, put a center line in there, center line in there, and I'm also going to put one here showing the hole going through the part. Pull this view down a little bit so I have a little bit of room, and let's go ahead and begin by giving our depth dimensions. So under Smart Dimension, let's get an overall depth. And then we can break out these pieces as well. Okay, so I've dimensioned from this side and this side and left this one a little. You'd have to subtract those two to get those dimensions. Sometimes it's better to do it in a chain, but it's going to put our marks in the wrong location. Okay, we need to give the length of these threads, so I'm going to pull that off as well and put that in here, so we know how far those threads go down. Actually, I'm going to delete that, put it in this view if I can. Yeah, we'll put that in there so you know how far to put those threads in. Okay, and this tells us what kind of threads they are. Okay, so we also need to give the diameter of this cylinder. So under Smart Dimensions, if I select this line, SolidWorks is going to give me it as a diameter. Likewise, if I come over here, I can get this diameter. So those are good. Next, we can start taking a look at this chamfer up here. There's a special dimension for chamfers, and if I select this angle and this, I can get SolidWorks to give me my chamfer information. This tells me that that chamfer is 1/8 by 45 degrees. So if you were drawing the part from scratch, put that in for your chamfer dimension. Alright, next I need to put in the dimensions that are associated with this plate right here. I think I'm going to need a little bit more space, so let's see if I can pull these down a little bit. Maybe even pull these over here so I can pull it down a little further. And allow me to take this view, move it up a little bit. What I'm looking to do is create some space between the views for some additional dimensions. So I can put a dimension on this. Just get this radius in here. Actually, I'm going to put that on the bottom as well. Start that one again. Dimension. We need to dimension this radius. We need to give a dimension on this radius. We need to give a center mark for that radius, or we need to give an overall dimension. We'll do that in a moment. We need to give a diameter of the hole that's going all the way through. So that would be this guy. And we need to give a diameter of these holes. So I'm going to put that over here, and I'm going to add some text right in the end that says times 2 holes. Right? Let's move that a little bit. So I've got my holes identified for size. I have not located those holes, so we need to give some locations to those holes. So how far is it from here to here? Right. What is the distance from this hole to this hole? And we also need an overall length of the part, which I was having a little bit of difficulty coming up with before.